Greetings everybody, welcome to another Whoosh video review. This time we're going to be checking out Mech Idea's Gauntlet figure from the Demolition Crue series. This is a third-party figure. This is an unlicensed transforming toy. It is not produced by Hasbro or Takara. It is based on the Transformers character Ironfist, or Physitron, however else you want to identify him, from the wonderful Last Stand of the Wreckers series. Ironfist was a member of the Wreckers in that series, and he was definitely one of the more memorable, more interesting characters. So it's awesome to finally get a figure of Ironfist. And I have to say that right off the bat, I'm pretty impressed with this guy, because oftentimes third-party Transformers figures can be kind of a mixed bag in terms of quality. Sometimes the plastic isn't the greatest, sometimes they're really fragile and really delicate, and it's kind of scary to tinker with them and transform them and play around with them, but not in Gauntlet's case. Everything feels completely solid, and the plastic is as good as anything Hasbro or Takara have ever used. So buy this guy with confidence from whatever retailer is carrying him. If you're a Wreckers fan, and I know many Transformers fans are Wreckers fans, this guy is a must-have, I think. I'm very impressed with him. Now, he is a little bit small. That's probably my only complaint, but he should be a pretty small character. He's not going to work with your Masterpiece collection, but he's definitely going to work very well with your Classics, Generations, what have you, Chug collection. So let's get a look at this guy from all sides here. Now, he is a very basic design, not the most elaborate, but then again, that fits with the character. So, I mean, we have, like, you look at his legs here, the back of the legs, they're basically hollow. He's on par with what we usually get from Hasbro in a figure of this size. Now, just for size comparison real quick, here he is with Hasbro's Generations Swerve. So he's only just a little bit larger than Swerve. He's a little bit larger than a Legends figure, so I'd call him a small deluxe. Let's check him out with Springer here. This is the Voyager Springer, also based on the Last Stand of the Wreckers design. And look at this. Springer is just towering over Ironfist here. There's a huge difference in size. But, again, in the comic, that was pretty much what we were looking at. Ironfist was a small character. Now, his box, what he comes packaged in, is also very small. This is it. Kind of basic. Not a lot of frills here. The design is just basically a silhouette on the front of the box. Now you've got the Demolition Crue, the Mech Ideas logo, and then Gauntlet. And that's basically it for artwork on this box. It is plain, it is bare bones, and only on the bottom do we see some general information about the figure. Collectible item for ages 16 and up, not suitable for children under 3 years old. So I guess between the ages of 3 and 16 there's some sort of gray area. Maybe they can have it, maybe they can't, I don't know. But that's his packaging. And again, it's nothing special, it's very basic, very bare bones. Now, in terms of articulation, he's decently articulated. I mean, you can see the ball joints for his elbows right off the bat, and there's a good range of motion there. He can't get quite a 90-degree bend with them, though. That's about as good as you can get, but it's okay, because there's a good range in his shoulder, too, so it's not like he can't aim his gun at things. And the shoulder is kind of a swivel. Now, okay, let's talk about that for a second. His gun. Okay, nice basic design. Fits in his hand nicely, but because of this portion right here and where his hand is positioned on his arm, there's not a lot of clearance there. He can't hold on to it all that well. I mean, he can, but it's kind of at an angle, and he doesn't have the best grip on it. But if you're not fiddling with it a lot, it will stay in place. It won't fall out if you shake it. But yeah, that is what it is. His head is on a ball joint that moves around nicely. Let's see, his legs have a good range of motion, and he does have knees that can bend. So that's nice. And he's got a waist swivel that does an okay job of swiveling. Now, his feet are kind of locked in this dramatic pose. There's no articulation in his feet. I mean, they move forward and backward a little bit, but it's pretty much useless considering all this area here. So his feet are kind of locked in this Superman kind of pose, as I call it. So there's not a whole lot you can do. Wah! As I knock him over. Take that, Iron Fist. There's not a whole lot you can do with it outside of that. Still a nice figure though. And on the back, this portion comes off for some reason. You don't need to take it off when transforming him. And then this, which I guess is some kind of spare tire, I don't know, that also comes off for some reason. I'm not sure what that is all about. If you know, please leave a comment below. Help me out here. So let's get a look at this guy's transformation then. It's not the most complicated in the world. It's pretty simple. And for a figure of this size, simple works. So what we do, we pick him up and we move this portion back a little bit. Okay, and on the inside here, there are some flaps that can swing out. They go all the way up. So you're left with something that looks like that. Then we can take his head, flip it around, and lay it down like that. And then that moves up like this. Then his entire upper torso flips up. And that basically gives us the front end of the vehicle mold already. Mode, not mold. Okay, then his legs, you can flip his feet down, and they just spin around. And then there's a tab here that locks into the space here. And then these two things, which are his kneecaps basically, they just flip down around out of sight. And that gives us that. So already he's starting to look like the little vehicle that he is. Now we just have to deal with the arms. The arms are the only part that's even remotely tricky. His hands can flip in. I mean, when I say tricky, I don't really mean tricky because it's not tricky. Move that up. Move that down. And that just kind of fits there, sort of like that. And then this can flip down, and that creates that side of that vehicle. And we do the same thing with this arm. Flip that down. It's a little bit of a tight clearance with his feet right there, but it's not that bad. And that flips down. And then that is basically his vehicle mode. It's not bad. It's, it is what it is. I'm not sure what kind of vehicle it's supposed to be. And then his gun, there's two holes here. You can pick whichever one you want to insert it in. I tend to go with this one and there. Now he's armed. And it looks good from all angles. It doesn't have that jigsaw puzzle effect. And from below, there's not like, a robot smiling at us, so that's always a good thing. And then this entire thing can swivel to give his weapon some range of fire or motion or whatever you want to call it. Okay? So that's his vehicle mold. Again, not the biggest thing in the world. Here's Swerve looking down at it, for crying out loud. So let's get him back to his robot mode then. We can remove the gun. Flip this bit is always challenging for me, because if you haven't noticed by watching my other videos, I don't exactly have fingernails, so I've always got to find some creative way to flip out the things that require, there we go, that require fingernails. There we go. Okay, so then that frees up his arms. His arms just fold out and around. That folds down. Let's get his feet flipped around here. His knees stay in place now, so that's nice and convenient. And his torso comes down. We flip up his head. And then those panels fold in again. And then that folds up. It doesn't lock into place at all, it just kind of sits there. And then we get his robot mode again. Ironfist's heroic stance robot mode. Now let's get a close-up on his face. I don't think we've done that yet. Get that in focus. And it is such a good likeness of the character from the comic. I couldn't ask for a better likeness to Iron Fist. It's just perfect. I don't think we could get a better one from Hasbro or Takara. So I'm very pleased with how this guy came out. Now, when the original company that was soliciting this figure, I can't even remember what they were called. They bailed on the project, and I think one of the reasons why they bailed was because when their pricing was announced, people flipped out. This thing was supposed to be something like $60 or $50 or something, which is insane for something really not much larger than a Legends figure. Okay? Then Mech Ideas kind of picked up the designer, bought the designer, did whatever they did, and they dropped the pricing down to $29.99. I mean, that's still a chunk of change for a figure this big, but it's a lot better than what we were offered previously. And it is a third-party figure. It's not an official Hasbro Takara figure, so these tend to run a little bit more expensively. So it is a chunk of change, but I have no regrets picking him up. I'm very pleased with him. I like him a lot. I'm very happy to have him. Always happy to add another character to my records roster on my shelf. So that is Mech Ideas Gauntlet. Let us know what you think by leaving a comment below. Subscribe to the Fwoosh, and I will see you next time.